get to the next level.
Yeah. The president did issue an apology a couple of days ago, and this was, of course, in relation to this compensations panel that is going to maybe start their work in earnest. Onto what? Not sure. There have been suggestions that a panel wasn't needed. You already have the Kenya Human Rights Commission who does this work anyway, and that they are mandated to do this. You did not need to institute a panel to start having discussions about this, and to maybe, bring in a few more coins there where they're not needed to pay anybody. What are your thoughts, both of you now, about that? The apology of the president and then his almost commitment where he said, I will not give another order for anyone to be killed. Acknowledgement that he did give the previous one. So should he then be held accountable? And then why duplicate roles if you already have a Kenya Human Rights Commission to do this exact same thing?
I'll start there with the KNCHR, and I'm very fond of the KNCHR because the KNCHR sometimes stands in moments when institutions are collapsing. In this particular regard, there is one thing I think there is a misstep, and I hope that they are able to correct it. A senior advocate, Wilfred Nderito, whom I had hoped would actually take my place on this show, but wasn't available today, actually wrote to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights requesting that they do not share the information on the victims with the government, with State House. And the reason for that is very simple, because you got the integrity of data. If you are saying you are shot by police and then your details, including where you live, is also shared with the state, we have compromised. We've compromised your safety and your security. And I think that is an issue. Even as we are going into this, I think I hark back to what Christine was saying, which is that we've got to be able to do this in a systematized way, so that we are not throwing new people into the deep end, because they're going to make mistakes. Some of those mistakes can be avoided if you are using tailor-made institutions that sort of can deal with it. The question of leadership, I think, is critical, especially of the police service. And if you look at the task force report of the David Maraga task force from 2 years ago, says there's a consistent failure of leadership. It's almost like the police is designed to fail. Right? From the Police Service Commission, and those things are not being addressed. For me, I come back to saying that every time you are making compensation for human rights violations, you are acknowledging that the constitutional promise is not being met. Right? Every time you do this kind of thing, you are saying we have fallen short. And for victims, it is not so much about you paying them. It is about how rarely you need to pay them. So the fact that we're having this payment conversation in itself says that we have made a habit. The violation of human rights is habitual. It's so habitual, it's almost routine. And for me, that's a difficult. It's a difficult place, because we have a long history. We have a long 60-year history, and some of those violations are historic or historical. Others are footnotes. But when you lose a child, when you lose a husband, when you lose a wife, when you lose a mother or father, it's not the prominence of the person that is the source of the injury. The injury just cuts us deep. It doesn't matter how important or unimportant you are. Every life is important. And so that's why I'm at that point where I'm like, if the Constitution, and we wrote this Constitution for ourselves, if the Constitution says life is important, life is sacrosanct, why is it that it's so difficult for us to start on that as a